Hello and welcome. In this episode, we're talking to Dracot or Kennedy about the cryptopower wallet, its exciting features, and what to expect going forward. In the pre-chat that we've just had, there's some really nice stuff coming on, which I'm really looking forward to. Actually, it sounds amazing. So, if you've tuned into previous episodes, you know that we've been discussing quite extensively about Decred needing to be available to mobile users and some of the missed opportunities and the impacts that mobile could have on the Decred project. So the aim of this show is actually to talk to someone that's developing in the crypto mobile space and kind of get their views on it, and see if we can take this forward. And in actual fact, over the next couple of years, as we start to get these mobile apps, we've got a lot to look forward to, and I think there's a lot of opportunities here. So let's start by saying hello to these guys. So hello, Kennedy. Hello, Exitus. How are we doing?
Yeah, great, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. How about you, Exodus?
Doing really good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no, it's a month's too long, man. A month's too long. So let's just start by learning a little bit about Dracot. Things that I'm really interested in is when and how you got into crypto, how you found Decred, and some of your other kind of development experiences.
Okay, sure. I got into crypto back in 2018, I believe. Originally started developing in 2015. I started off with Java. I was making Android games, 2D games, very exciting. Then I had to pivot, into something else. Um, Someone texted me up one day that they have a project for me to work on, a Golang project, and I had not worked on Golang previously. This was 2018. I'm like, okay, sure, let me hear about it. And then it was Decred based. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, do I want to pick up another programming language at this point? There's always that question of what are the benefits of this language. So I did my research. So that Go was pretty powerful and what it could do. So I said, okay, sure, why not? I think that was Webtail. It was a remote log web viewer, Webtail, yeah. So I did that for Radar Group initially back then. It was difficult initially because that was my first experience with Go. Trying to put what you've learned into perspective. But at the end of the day, it was very, very perfect. I enjoyed it. I wanted to do more. So I had to go off for a while due to personal reasons. Then I came back in 2020 and I've been consistent since then, working on the Decred mobile apps, the iOS app, the Android app. Worked alongside people like Collins. Collins was very, very helpful when it came to the mobile development because he had this, what's the word to use? He had this discipline in programming. He made me become a better developer actually because he didn't just, let's say, jump lines or skip things. He made sure everything was done to detailed and done perfectly. So I also worked with Max 7 on Android, on iOS, Decred Wallet iOS. These were all perfect experiences. So going forward, I kept on working on more Decred projects and yeah, pretty much started working on Decred in 2018. And personally, I also do sometimes web apps for clients. So banking sector, e-commerce sector, also mobile apps, e-commerce sector. So generally for me, programming is a passion. I could literally spend 12 hours. That's not healthy, but 12 hours on my decks or more writing code. And I know I need to leave to go and rest, but I don't want to rest. I want to keep doing what I'm doing because, it makes me happy.
Yeah, I must admit, it's one of those things that just kind of draws you in and you just spend hours on it. It's absolutely amazing. Out of interest, how did you find the changeover from Java to Golang?
Honestly speaking, it was quite tasking because learning any new programming language, sometimes you have the ones that are closely related, like Java and C Sharp, for example. So, but then again, Go was a totally different programming experience, totally different, let's say, layouts in general. So initially, I was discouraged because I'm like, oh, okay, why does this feel difficult for me to learn? Why does this feel? Well, I guess I had to get a textbook actually because I love reading textbooks rather than watching videos. So I had to get a textbook, which I had 24, 25 chapters I took about 3 weeks reading the textbook, and after I was done with that, it made me much better, and I found it pretty easy to continue with Golang. Yeah, very good experience.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm currently doing a 30-day challenge on Python Relay at the minute, where I'm learning
Oh, okay.
Golang and just literally day by day. And I've got a course and I've got a book. In actual fact, I mean, the language that I'm most familiar with is probably Python. I'm not a developer by any means, but I hack around and stuff like that. But the change from Python to Golang was actually quite pleasant. So yeah, I'm on day 18 or 19 at the minute, so it's going okay. But
Oh,
oh,
you're enjoying it?
sorry.
You're
Yeah, I
enjoying
love
it?
it. Yeah, and the same
Perfect.
as you. Whereas once I get started, it's meant to be an hour of code. So you're meant to do an hour, and that's you. But more often than not, I'm like 3 or 4 hours later. Oh, I better do some other work now. But no, absolutely love it. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Before we go on any further, just want to say to the guys that are watching or listening, if you want to ask any questions as we go through, please feel free to. We can all see the chat here, so we'll try and pick up on the comments as we go, as well as have a discussion at the end. So the next thing I'm really interested to hear about is your views on how important it is for Decred to have a mobile app or have several mobile apps, and what kind of things it could mean for the project going forward. How could it benefit the project?
Oh, absolutely. So first of all, people might say we already have several apps which support Decred, like Binance, Trust Wallets, and the rest. But personally, I feel those apps don't really bring out the true values of Decred, because basically all you can do with them is send and receive. But Decred is way more powerful than that. So, and then if you're going to present Decred to users, you need to give them the full power of what Decred can offer. That includes staking, governance, mixing, and so forth. So I feel having our own dedicated mobile app helps us a lot in this field, because when you want to introduce somebody to a product, you don't want to give them half baked goods. You want to take them the whole mile, show them what we have to offer actually, and then they can decide, having a full knowledge of what is on the table. So someone might see Decred and say, oh, okay, so what's the difference between Decred and Bitcoin? I mean, I can send, I can receive. Currently, we have the market price of Decred being much higher, but you have to look to the future. So when we can present all these facts to them, I feel they can make a more informed decision. Plus, also we have it's not a secret that the most user base is on mobile, not desktops. So you want to appeal to the mobile users because they control the market share. And if you really want to succeed, or have your product do well out there, you need to cater for the mobile users, which is why I also feel having our own wallet is very, very vital.
I also
Yeah,
really liked
definitely.
how you guys made it a multi-coin wallet supporting both Litecoin and Bitcoin, and both of those work really well. So I really like to see that in that app and cryptopower.
Yeah, that will definitely be coming to mobile.
Yeah, that's a good point, Exodus, actually. And I liked the way that it changed. So, and the idea of having mobile is a great one. Having staking, having the privacy mixing is absolutely brilliant. But the one thing I really like is this idea of interchangeability between coins, or so you can actually just change in and out of coins, all non-custodial, all without KYC, which was another thing that fascinated me about this recent proposal, actually. So yeah, so well brought up on that one. Out of interest, just kind of lingering on this point just a little bit longer. What kind of user, or what kind of base of user do you think this is going to bring to Decred in terms of? Do you think more? I mean, I'm trying to bring up a point that we made in one of our last episodes, where we were basically saying that the mass market of users now is on mobile. Do you think that's true? Do you think that there is a bigger audience for mobile now than there is in terms of desktop, or do you think that they're even?
Definitely not even. I would say we have majority on mobile, because most times you have people on the move, and carrying a laptop around most times is not convenient. You might be in transit. You won't want to be opening your laptop trying to, check, oh, did this money come through? Or what's the status of my ticket? Or has this proposal passed? What's the vote count? You want to open your laptop to do stuff like that. So when you have a mobile app, very, very convenient. You could just quickly pull it up, check for the data you want to check. So I still feel mobile app has a lot more appeals more to our user base. While the desktop, we have a lot of power users who love using desktop apps, yeah, and that is why we also have the desktop version to cater for such users.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at, to the point of most people that I know that I kind of try and onboard. It always starts with mobile. If I say to them, "Hey, go to your desktop, download the Crediton, and I'll send you over some money," it's like, what? But when we had what? But when we had the iOS app, it was very much, oh, here, look, I'm stood here, you're stood there. Let's just do a quick transfer now. And it was so streamlined. And although I would still recommend for the big holdings to use desktop,
Yeah, definitely.
it certainly is a nice way of onboarding. And I do think that is something that Decred has missed out on this last year and a half or so, where we've kind of lost a lot of that. So yeah, nice take on that. Nice, interesting take on that. Which
One
brings
thing
me on
that's
to
sorry, I was just gonna add one
my,
thing that's nice about crypto power is you don't have to write down the seed to use the wallet. So it says, hey, you should back up your seed, but if you want to explore the wallet and receive some decred, you can do that. So I think a big detriment sometimes with the Crediton is having to go through that seed phase where you write down the 33 words or whatever it is. So I really like that feature, even though it's not necessarily as safe. It constantly reminds you, hey, you should back up your seed. You should back up your seed until you do it. So I think that's a great way to onboard people with crypto power.
Yeah,
yeah,
so the purpose behind that is, yeah, exactly what you said. Because sometimes you might want to know, oh, do I really like what this wallet looks like? Does it resonate with me? And if you're forcing people to back up seed words immediately, kind of discourages them. Oh, I have to write down a 36 word, a 33 seed word before I know if I can use this wallet or not. And like now, uninstall. So
yeah, great point. I mean, I haven't used this new version of crypto power yet, but that is actually an absolute must. So many people have brought that up in the past. It's like Decod's got like 32 words. It's not even like 16. It's like 32, and it can be a discouraging factor. Although I'd never, you people should be backing up their seed, of course. But as Jacob just said, just to test out a wallet, it's not actually always necessary. So that's a really nice feature actually. So bringing on to my next point then. So the Crypto Power wallet is a rebrand and a continuation of Go DCR wallet, which we've had a few discussions on the last few episodes. What made you want to pick up the project and become the project lead? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
sorry about that. Yeah, personally, I've put in a lot of work towards crypto power, towards Go this year in the past. Also, the team I worked with, and at some point, I was the project lead for the crypto power for the Go this year project. And I know the amount of work we've put into this. It was going to be pretty sad to watch everything just go to waste. So I'm like, okay, no one wants to pick this up. I'm sure I can handle this. I have the experience, I have the background. So I was happy to do this.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, one of the points that I brought up and keep bringing up, really, and I apologise if I'm a bit of a broken record here, but it was so disappointing to see that proposal firstly fail. I mean, I understand why it failed, but for then the radar group to just disappear, it was like, oh, for God's sake. Now we've kind of got to rely on third party mobile wallets, and personally, although it's like we've got the Cake wallet coming up, and although I see the point in that, if you don't have your own wallet that's built by the system, by the teams involved in the project, you're always limited to what they say you can do, or how quickly they're going to implement something, or how quickly they're going to fix something. So for me, I mean, it is one of the pieces of infrastructure that I'm wholeheartedly for, and like we said before about the ease of use for new beginners, and actually having it built in house is absolutely something Yeah, there's no substitute, I don't think. So yeah, well done for picking that up and taking that forward. It's much appreciated. And I'm absolutely thrilled that the proposal got through, and we've got, we're going to get a mobile app again. So that's brilliant. What else was I going to say on that point? So just to cut before I move on to the next bit, what just for the audience, what kind of features can we look forward to both now and going forward? So we said about staking, and we said about is privacy mixing available?
Yes,
Privacy works. I've tested it. I think everything's available other than the DEX, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. Everything's available apart from DEX.
So you can do proposal voting, consensus voting. You can stake. You can do coin mixing. They have a simple swap feature where you can use the like change now or whatever. There's a few different services, but I've tested it with Decred and Litecoin, and it works pretty well. And it already has your addresses built in, so it's a kind of a streamlined, simple swap service, which is I thought was a really cool feature personally.
Yeah, so we also have coin control. So that also gives you more privacy. You could choose which addresses you want to spend from. For Bitcoin, we have the fee rates API. So you could use that to select your fees for sending. We have the network privacy. So basically the app starts with all network requests disabled, and then you can choose to enable them when you want. We also have the gap limits, which helps restored wallets find used addresses faster to discover funds that you might not naturally get with the default gap limit. Then we also added the description for transactions on Bitcoin wallets. So if we send you transaction, you could add a note for whatever that transaction is for, and the receiver sees it.
Did you say you can add notes for a transaction?
Yes, but that's currently only supported for Bitcoin.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Do you guys plan on adding the DEX to the mobile version of cryptopower?
So we are looking at that currently, but it might not be practical, but it's still too early to tell. So when we get to that stage, we'll be able to determine if it's something that we could have to the mobile, or we could just leave it as a desktop only feature.
And do you plan on adding the staking and the other features to mobile?
Yes. So, but there's a clause with that. So let's say for mixing, for example, it's not going to work with the app in the background. The app needs to remain in the foreground. So what we plan to do in the case of mixing is to have to force the display on. So force your display to remain on for the mixing period, and when mixing is done, your display can go off. So it might not be too convenient if you want to multitask on your mobile, because it's going to break the process. But if maybe you might be cooking, doing whatever, and just decide to leave your mobile to mix for you, very, very possible. Similar with staking.
I think you're muted.
Yeah, I think you're muted.
It's gone.
You're good now.
Oh, am I back?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone all white here, so it looks like it's going to break again. But I was just trying to process what you were trying to say, what you were saying there about the mixing being in the foreground and background. Could you just reiterate that for us?
Okay, sure, perfect. So when you put your app in the background, by default, the OS kinds of deallocate resources from that app because it's in the background right now, and it gives more priority to other apps that are in the foreground. So you might have a break in communication with the app. So mixing is not going to be possible when your app is in the background. It needs to be in the foreground for the mixer to start and to complete. So the workaround we have for that is to keep your display on whenever the mixer is working. So your app has to remain in the foreground. If not, mixing is not going to work perfectly. We can't hear you again.
I think my mic is gone.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You can hear me again. I
Yeah.
think what's happening is you're actually hearing me through my laptop audio. So if it sounds a bit rubbish, I do apologize. I'm getting these big white lines on my mic here, so it might not be very good. So I'll ask the next question and I'll try and fix it whilst you carry on. But if I do go quiet, if Exodus, you can take over, that'd be great. So what was your thinking behind changing from a pure Decred DCR wallet to a multi-coin wallet?
All right. So initially we added Bitcoin, and that was for primary use with DCR DEX integration. We also figured that, oh, okay, this could double down as having an extra chain for users to use. Also going further down the line, I'm like, okay, why not just add Litecoin? Because while we want people to use Decred, if we're offering a Decred only mobile wallet, it kind of limits our user base to people who already know about Decred. But if you want to introduce someone who doesn't know about Decred to Decred, what better way than providing a wallet where they might have coins they already use? Oh, they have a Bitcoin wallet previously, they don't know about Decred. They use a cryptopower wallet, put some Bitcoin there, and they start to play around with maybe the instant exchange or DCRDX, and then they know they can consciously see there's a wallet called Decred that they've not created yet. Out of curiosity, most people might want to say, okay, let me just fiddle with this and see what it's about. So, and that also gives people the opportunity to easily move their money from other their funds from other exchanges, or other wallets into the cryptopower wallet. Makes it so easy for them and very, very easy to acquire Decred. At the same time, also giving them the full power of Decred, mixing governance, staking. So I feel it was kind of a way to put Decred first, but while also acknowledging that we have other coins, which people use more than Decred. So Decred is very powerful. A lot of people don't know that. And marketing for crypto is quite tricky because it's quite difficult to do marketing for crypto. So but crypto power is still always going to remain a Decred first wallet despite all this. Just have other coins present. So we have a new design coming up, and we feature stuff like governance, mixing on the default page. So even users who don't have Decred wallets could also see, oh, I can say governance tab. What's this about? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm personally. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think I fixed my mic. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm personally actually really impressed by the fact that you guys have decided to make it a multi-coin wallet, and the thinking that the trail of thought that I've been going down the last year or so is very much, if we're going to be a part of this whole system, crypto ecosystem, we have to be as inclusive as possible. And I really like the idea of the simple swap being built into the wallet as well, so you can quickly and easily. I know it's probably not as peer-to-peer as DCR Dex, but one thing that I like about it is if you did manage to integrate DCR Dex and you've got the simple swap, it allows people with Litecoin to quickly buy 4 DCR to pay for their Fidelity bond, which at the moment is actually another part of the process, whereas you could literally do it all within one wallet. So it might, I think that could be really, really useful.
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question about the multi-coin. Do you guys have any plans or any kind of strategy to maybe like market this wallet to Litecoin and Bitcoin people? Or is that something you're thinking of later? Or do you just not have the funds to do that?
Currently, we do not have the funds to do that, but I was speaking with Lindsay earlier, actually a couple of weeks back, regarding adding crypto power marketing to her PR work, which she was excited about as well. But that's as far as we've done regarding marketing plans.
Yeah, I'm curious if even Litecoin has any native SPV wallets. that would even compete with something like this. I haven't looked into it too much. I know a lot of people use Electrum, the Electrum wallet, which I believe you look at someone else's node, so it's not necessarily as safe. So there's definitely potential for this to become a wallet in for these other coins, which I think is really interesting. And of course, like you just said, if you have those decrypt features right on the main page, I actually really like how the main page looks right now, but I'm excited to see what you guys do. People might see those features and get even more interested in Decred. So I think that's a really good strategy by you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I must admit, what I've seen of the UI so far just looks absolutely amazing. The job that you guys have been doing is just, yeah, phenomenal. And I like the point that you're making about once this comes to mobile, the user of a mobile app is going to be able to see exactly what Decred can do. And I think maybe in our own messaging, that's what's been missing, because people can't just go to an app. They go to the Trust app, the Trust Wallet app, and they turn it on. It's like, well, all I can do with Decred is send and swap. How useful is that? Whereas once you have an app that actually shows, hey, look, there's privacy mixing all built in, there's staking, there's voting on 3 different types of element. It's just blows the mind away a little bit. And I think as we get more of those features like DCI DEX and Bison Relay, it becomes even more interesting. And hopefully even we get features from other crypto projects, and maybe there's some funds there. But out of interest, so what is the next step for Crypto Power? Is it to build the mobile app and get that onto the stores, or is there a step in between that you're hoping to achieve?
Currently is to build a mobile app and get it to the stores as soon as possible. So because right now we have the desktop app, we have a release version. So even though it might not be perfect, it's out there. People can use it. We could get real life feedback from testers. But the mobile app is non-existent. So I believe people are eager for the mobile app to be out there, especially given the fact that the previous mobile apps no longer work after the upgrade. So that's priority for us, the mobile app.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good to hear. What kind of problems do you think you're going to face? And we've had these discussions in some of the chats before, especially, I don't think there's as many issues with the Android phones, but certainly the iOS. I know that they've got some really strange rules around crypto and payment systems. Do you foresee any issues there, or have you got any strategies for kind of dealing with them wallets, or sorry, dealing with those platforms?
Yeah, I'm aware that late last year, I think Apple passed a law where crypto apps could not use crypto for in-app purchases. Crypto apps could not use crypto to offer services to users. You have to go through the Apple payment system. But for Crypto Power, we don't have any in-app purchases where you're going to need to use crypto to do, or we don't have any goods to sell, where you have to use crypto to purchase. So I don't think we're going to have problem with that policy. I see it being a smooth sailing for us. On the Android part of things, similar, there's no issues there. We should be good to go. But personally, one thing I find quite frustrating with developing for mobile is, building native Android or iOS apps. You have this hot reload where you don't have to really build your code each time you want to say a change that you've made. You could just easily click a button, and in like seconds, you see the changes you've made. But because Go is native, you have to first build and then push to the device. So it's more or less like a couple of minutes delay. But I mean, that's just one of the drawbacks of not using native development.
Yeah, I know we've got some questions that Exodus is just about to touch on for that, but that's really interesting. Actually, I know Dave Collins said something similar in the chats about kind of building on the native infrastructures. Obviously, speeds up things and might be a little bit more. I can't remember the word he used. It wasn't stable, but it's along those lines. But obviously, that slows things down as well. If you can't build for every or at least a whole bunch of platforms in one go, it slows the whole process down as well. So, Exodus, I'm gonna send out some tweets, see if anyone else has got some questions. And guys in the chat, and we've got 5 or 6 people watching in the chat now. If you want to post your questions for Dracot, ask him some stuff about the crypto power wallet, please do so. But let's move on to the community section. So any questions, shoot them our way, and let's see how this goes.
I had one question. I don't know if you can answer this, but do you have any estimates for maybe like the beta builds of the mobile wallet or builds for the DEX on the desktop? Do you have any ETAs on when we can possibly expect those things? If you have any idea.
Yeah, I would say we could get it better for the mobile builds sometime in November. That's very possible. Probably possibly stuff we could have them on testnet and on what's this Apple stuff called test flights. Yeah, could have them on test flights and also have the test version of the app up on the Play Store by November. That's very feasible. I'm already working on that at the moment, actually. So, but for DCR decks, that's tricky to say right now because there's still a lot of moving parts to get into, and we're just getting the UI for DCR decks implemented at the moment. So we haven't started any of the actual bridging between the DCR deck repo and cryptopower. So, but I think a better person to give an answer on this might be Wisdom.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll go to the community questions. This first one is from B. He asks, what risks and unknowns are in Go builds? How is Geo development going, and how has adoption been?
Yeah, absolutely. So far so good. We haven't faced any major issues with Geo. That has been a showstopper. I mean, we faced a couple of issues in the past, like there's a time where tab inputs were not being registered for the desktop, and we created an issue upstream, and the Geo team was able to resolve that for us. But nothing major, just with every software you expect to be bugs, you expect to have bugs, and as long as it's actively being developed, those bugs are going to end up being fixed. So then a risk I might see with Geo is there's some native stuff that I'm not sure how Geo might handle. Like you have push notifications. You have these native packages for iOS and Android. So I don't know how Go might handle those push notifications. That's an area where we just have to see how that works when we get to that stage. So, but at the end of the day, we still have a fallback where if building pure Go doesn't work, we could wrap our binary into an Android and iOS native project. So it's still going to be the same Golang code, just wrapped in native Android, native iOS, just in case we might need to get some, native features like Geo might not support for both platforms. Then another risk that my encounter might be in the case of where, let's say, support for Geo discontinues, but I don't see that happening because it's actively being developed.
Okay. B also asks, how does Geo perform in areas where all new GUI toolkits struggle versus older, more mature toolkits? For instance, he's asking about keyboard navigation, scaling, OS integration, that kind of stuff.
Personally, I don't have extensive data to give 100% accurate answer on this, but from my experience with Geo, we do occasionally have inputs. Currently, we have a bug actually happening where if you try to Ctrl V into an editor, sometimes the app crashes. We've kind of linked that to be an upstream issue, so which we would follow up with the Geo team. I think we discovered that around Friday. So, but overall, editor, OS handling, everything has been working so far fine for us. So we haven't had any issues with that or any reason to look elsewhere to other GUI toolkits.
Okay, great. We just got a question from the chat from No Fake. He says, "Will you put Bison Relay in cryptopower wallet?"
Okay, yes. So that was part of initiative that did not make the cut for our proposals. That would be a very interesting feature to have, but because of how, I mean, batching relay is just starting up. So I mean, it could pivot. There's a lot of unknowns at the moment. So I think the project is not actually mature enough to consider the crypto power integration. But at the point where we have batching relay maybe for 2 years, thereabout, we could consider adding it to crypto power wallets. But right now, it's not mature enough to think of because we might be implementing it currently, and we have major upstream changes ongoing. So I don't think it's wise to do that right now.
Yeah,
Out of
Bison Relays.
interest,
Sorry.
sorry, out of interest, would you be able to bring in sort of finished modules from Bison Relay? So for instance, the chat group and individual chat is pretty much there, or at least will be in, say, a year or whatever. Would you be able to say, look, we'll just bring that module in, then wait for the rest of the project to mature, or would it have to be the whole thing?
It's going to be possible to bring in certain modules because when I went through the Bison Relay repository, different sections are kind of separated, broken down. So yeah, it's very possible to just pick out what you want and integrate on that.
That could be a nice way forward, I reckon, because having the chat in that app would just be amazing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say Bison Relay is getting updates almost every month, so it's definitely a work in progress. And you make a good point that it's still a very much unfinished product, so it doesn't make sense to work on these integrations when Bison Relay is constantly changing. So I definitely agree with you there. We have another comment from Honda Trump AI. He says, "So Decred has or is making a wallet." Yes, Decred does already have a wallet called the Crediton, but this new wallet, cryptopower, is going to be both desktop and mobile, which is a big deal. It is open source and it's going to be usable on mobile. It's written in Go, so it's written in a different programming language, a different technology stack. So yes, that's coming. You should check out their proposal on proposals.decred.org for cryptopower, and you can read all about what they're doing and the costs and everything. Yep, no problem. Okay, we have another question from B. He says, "Will we get on official F-Droid or our own custom F-Droid? The state of reproducible builds."
So we have F-Droids in sight. Yeah, it's definitely what we've been discussing actually internally, providing because Google is, like say, not really the best company in terms of privacy. So we might want to just have most people don't even want to get the apps if it's going to be via Google Play. They want a way they can get it without having to go through Google. So definitely we're going to want to have that feature in. But right now, it's too early to tell if we can do that right away or as part of this proposal. So, but definitely as things unfold, if we still have room in terms of budget, the proposal is nearing an end. We'll definitely add this to works of things to be done. But yeah, we currently have F-Droids in sight. We want to implement that definitely.
Okay. And now we have a question from Zippy Corners. He says, "Would love to go deep into Geo itself and hear if that's an actively developed framework. What kind of stuff is it adding and unlocking besides the fact that it can be all written in Go? Also, is it a dev-friendly framework to work with?"
Okay, so he was asking first off if it's actively developed. Yeah, very much. Chris and Elias have been doing a great job with GIO. The last commit to the repository was 12 days ago, if I remember correctly. So yeah, they're actively developing it, putting in changes, fixing bugs, and all that. So apart from the fact that we could just build everything, one code builds to different platforms, you also have the statelessness of GIO. So most most retain mode UI apps usually stateful, but in GIO you could do a lot of stuff without having to maintain a state. So from aligning to listing out elements in the interface to basically everything you're doing on the UI aspect of things is stateless. So just control the regular construct like for loops, if else statements and whatnot. So it's pretty easy to put out your layout there without having to worry about, let me say, callback listeners or event listeners to change something or, to change the state of the icon. It's pretty easy in the sense of everything is stateless with GIO. Then similar stuff is also for the user inputs. Most times you might say, okay, let me use Android as a very good example. While writing in Java or Kotlin, you have callbacks called did user finish typing, is user typing, stuff like that, to try and know when a user is interacting with the input fields. With GIO, because it's stateless, that doesn't happen, as the user is typing, the feedback is coming back instantly. So it kind of makes things pretty easy, but sometimes you might have to write more code to get stuff done. But I mean, every language, every framework has its pros, it has its cons, it has its trade-offs. So, but overall, I would say it is a dev-friendly framework. It is.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm keen to get started on it. I must say, like I say, I'm halfway through my my Go challenge, but at the end of it, that's one of my missions to actually try and patch something in with Geo and to see how it works. I do like the idea of just being able to build everything in Go, which all in one framework and everything. So it seems really interesting. We're pretty much coming towards the end of all of our questions, and hopefully some of the community hop in with some questions if you have any. That'd be great. But out of interest, what are you guys most looking forward to over the next few months or years, based on what you guys are doing or other things around the space?
So we're excited to add Trezor and Ledger hardware wallet support. So that's definitely something that will be coming in the near future, probably in the next proposal. But yeah, something we're excited to work on. We're also looking at Lightning payments for DCR and BTC. Especially, we all know what happened earlier when BTC fees were crazy. So if you had Lightning implementation at such a point, you won't even be bothered about the fees because you'll be paying close to nothing. So I think that is a must-have. Although speaking truthfully, Decred is already pretty fast in terms of transaction, but I mean it could be faster, so why not? Then something I would love to have personally is card payments in cryptopower, where you could use your credit card to purchase Decred, because that's also, let's assume you don't have Bitcoin, you don't have Litecoin, but you have the Decred wallet, you want some Decred, and you don't want to have to move funds from this wallet or this. So how do you go about that? If you having that option to actually take from a bank account and purchase Decred, is going to be really helpful, especially for new time users. It's going to be a great way to onboard them into the Decred community.
Yeah, and anything that helps onboarding, I think that's absolutely great. How about you, Exis? What are you looking forward to?
I'm mainly looking forward to in cryptopower. I think the UI and UX user experience look really, really good. And there's certain features in cryptopower that aren't in Decrediton. Like we talked about the simple swap. You can hide your balance by clicking a button. It'll make your balance private, which is something I've always kind of wanted to see in Decrediton, which I think is odd it isn't there because it's a privacy focused coin. You guys know what I'm talking about. In cryptopower, you can press the I button, it'll hide your balance, which I think is really simple and useful. And I like that in cryptopower, they're going to come out with this new overlay or overview where on like in Go DCR on the front page, you kind of have everything going on in the wallet. You have your transactions, you have your coin mixing, it shows you what proposals are going to vote. It's all kind of right there. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Phoenix. I know Kennedy does. where everything's kind of right there, and it shows you what everything that Decred's doing. And I hope that crypto-powered Decrediton can kind of maybe bounce ideas off each other and innovate each other to kind of add certain features or just make things better.
Yeah, no, I had seen that feature where you can hide your balance and stuff. So, I mean, look, most of my evidence was based on your tutorial, actually, from I think almost 2 years ago. One question I do have while I think about it is, obviously we've got the Cake Wallet proposal, which for people listening, hopefully that should go active in the next couple of days. Going forward, once the Cake Wallet is initiated and once the crypto power is initiated, do you think there'll be any kind of call for bringing the two projects like together in one proposal so that they kind of move forward together, or do you think they'll always be separate?
I think they would always be separate and that is mainly because one is community managed, one is external. So in as much as we might be working towards the same goal, it's not really under the same umbrella. So you have Cake, and their number one focus is always going to be Monero. So, and our number one focus is always going to be Decred, because it's always going to be Decred first for us. So yeah, it's always going to be separate, at least for now.
Clear and to the point. Absolutely. No, and I as I'm hearing you say that, I'm thinking, yeah, actually that does make the most amount of sense, even when we were talking about the Cake Wallet earlier. But even so, really excited to see that go through this time. Hopefully everyone votes, because we really don't want a vote not to get to quorum. There's nothing worse for someone putting these proposals together. And if you've been through the proposal process, like all three of us here have, it can be quite stressful, and it can, and it's very time consuming. So yeah, no, give them their dues and actually vote. Either yes or no, doesn't matter. Just make sure you vote. Yeah, I'm still trying to think about that. Getting fiat onboarding through credit card payments on crypto power as well. I think that'd be absolutely amazing.
I know they in the recent DEX roadmap thing on GitHub, they said they wanted to add payments with Stripe or something of that nature to the new DEX or the new DEX wallet. So I think that's a really fantastic feature, and you guys should definitely look into that.
Oh, I was not even aware of that, so I will definitely look into that.
Yeah, their roadmap that it got published in Decode Journal this month. So the August Decode Journal, there's a link for it. Basically says their roadmap, and some of the stuff that they're thinking about there is brilliant. The market maker bots in particular were crazy interesting. Yeah, fantastic. Well, Draycott, Kennedy, it's absolutely amazing speaking to you after all these years of us discussing stuff and and I was thinking about this the other day, actually, before I let you go. You were the first dev to publish their article on Decode magazine, which was well over a year ago now. So that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Before I let you go, though, we always kind of like do a final thing. So anything you want the community to know about yourself, where they can find you, and final thoughts.
Okay. Final thoughts. We'll be adding more chains to cryptopower. We are thinking about doing that but those are going to be purely SPV wallets for now. So we're also looking at because Ethereum is quite powerful. So we're looking at a way we could have an Ethereum lightweight client in cryptopower. We actually have a feature branch for that, where you could actually create Ethereum wallets on cryptopower. You could actually sync Ethereum wallets on cryptopower. So we had to just pause on that because of more pressing issues. But definitely we should be seeing more high demand chains coming to cryptopower in the future. Then also, I remember B spoke about reproducible builds. Yeah, that reminds me. So we also have a feature branch for reproducible builds. We put in a lot of work towards that. And that was more like a time sink, very, very time consuming. And sometimes it works, other times you're getting inconsistent results. So unfortunately, that could not be part of our future offering at this point in time. So we had to just put it to the side to be looked at later in future. But I think having reproducible builds would be super great, because that's where You don't have to trust what anybody's telling you that, oh, okay, this is what was built or whatever. You could actually do the process yourself and come to the same results as whatever is in the release. So I think, yeah, we'll definitely that will also be coming to crypto power in the future. Then anybody that wants to find me could find me on Twitter at Dracot. Not too active on social media, but I try to engage most of the times. Yeah. And on Element as well. Dracot as well on Elements.
Yeah, no, well worth reaching out. I mean, Dracot's been fantastic. Every conversation we have is always productive. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm liking the roadmap. How about you, Exitus? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you want to finish up on?
Sure. Exitus DCR on Twitter or X, currently running a little meme competition. So if you want to create an original meme, submit it. You might win some Decred. I think crypto power, it looks fantastic already, and I'm excited for the future developments. Really like that it became a multi-coin wallet. Looks really clean, runs really well. Looking forward to the mobile builds. And certainly I think because it is a multi-coin wallet and it's really easy to set up and sync, I think there's potential there for Litecoin and Bitcoin users to start using the DEX to trade. I remember there was the one Litecoin guy said Decrediton was a bit scary, 33 word seed. Then you have to do the other seed for the DEX itself. So hopefully this makes things a little bit easier for those people looking to jump on and use the DEX once you guys have it all figured out. But yeah, thanks for joining us. It was really nice to hear about crypto power and what's coming.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me.
yeah, absolutely amazing. And I tell you what, we should probably do, maybe in a year's time, once the mobile app is all up, we should maybe do another live stream and do some demo stuff and see how it works. Get some live demos going. But really excited for this one, Dracot. Really excited for crypto power. Thank you everyone for coming by today. It's absolutely brilliant. Decred coming back to mobile is massive. And yeah, the next year is going to be super exciting. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.